Hello Queen, Your Majesty and Mr. Archbishop of Canterbury. I'm here to inform both of you that your souls are in peril, okay? You might think that you're all high and mighty and big and powerful figures in this world, but in front of Jah, you are. If your life's works are evaluated and assessed no less and no more than the average so-called common citizen of this planet, your life and works and beings are measured in no different than the life and beings and works of people who live in abject poverty, that you too support by your continued support of a criminal economic and political so-called justice system, which actually is supporting Luciferian law of might equals right to do as thy will, and operates fundamentally on the proceeds of usury, slavery, denial of human and animal and plant and earth rights, and you are, both of you, condemned to eternal oblivion when your souls leave your bodies. There is absolutely no escape from this fact of life unless you're both prepared to repent of your sins today and seek forgiveness and make amends for your criminal behaviour and the criminal powers that you have been that you've been serving and that actually uphold both of your positions. Archbishop of Canterbury, you are representative of a thoroughly corrupt church that actually supports the Antichrist, encourages or even demands of people to participate in ritual human sacrifice, ritual cannibalism, and all while kneeling and praying before an instrument of Roman torture. Your religion is evil. Your church is supporting an evil philosophy. It has been established on the strength of the Roman Catholic Church, which you claim to have disassociated yourselves from by way of removing statues of Mary and an effigy of Jesus on the cross. That's about all you've done. Everything else you've upheld. You've upheld the demonisation of children as being born in original sin and all needing a regular good beating apparently, and also the utter degradation and denial of women's human rights on the strength of antiquated literature, which actually you and your church and its head, the Queen, the Pope, that's what you are, Queen, isn't it? You are the Pope of the English Church. So you have utterly denied women's rights on this strength of a misinterpretation of antiquated texts. I'll leave you the link to my Return to Eden video, which I hope you'll both watch and learn the true interpretation, the correct interpretation of the story of Eden, okay? Which was not meant to be a blueprint for humanity to live by. It was meant to be a parable for us to learn how to be like God. Now you two are either going to learn to be like God, otherwise you are, both of you, devils serving a devil, okay? And what is a devil but a criminal? A living man, a living male, a living female. That is what the devil is. Lawless, criminal people who act in collective groups in order to fulfill their every desire and wish. And very disgustingly, those wishes, desires do include access to children for abuse, torture and murder. and also to make profits from those children by child pornography and prostitution of children and trafficking of babies and children. Your city, Queen Elizabeth, your Majesty, okay, receives, according to the UN Child Protection Committee report of 2014, July 2014, states in no uncertain terms that your city is receiving thousands of trafficked children every year, and hundreds of those are being tortured in ritual ceremonies, brutal religious ceremonies, okay? And this is going on. Your children of London report crimes to police, get denied justice. You have been informed about it, Archbishop of Canterbury, because it concerns a school named Christ Church School with its own church, and you have done nothing at all about it. You have not asked for the other children named in this case to be investigated to make sure that they're safe. You have not upheld the rights of children, the rights of justice to children in Britain. You, both of you, are thoroughly despicable in the eyes of God, and how dare either of you even utter the name Jesus on your lips, okay? People in this country, thousands of them, have been driven to suicide and sickness through austerity, which is a criminal act against humanity and is actually supporting criminal bankers who apparently are too big to prosecute because, like you two, they're above the law. Well, so you think. Jar law, nobody stands above it, okay? And nobody is so small that they can be below it. Everybody is equal in the sight of universal law of abundance and compassion. You two support the very opposite. You support the law of might equals right to do as thy will, and to impose thrift and austerity on the most oppressed and impoverished people of your land, and meanwhile you two are allowed to live in the lap of luxury. Personally, I find you a personal affront, okay, because I wrote to your church sharing my light being experience. You have absolutely and utterly ignored me. I have suffered in this society as a result. I've been persecuted, attacked, slandered, libelled, you name it, and I'm totally on my own. You have refused and to given any support whatsoever to the light being experience. Apparently it's something for me just to be happy with myself. So yeah, I'm going to be really happy, aren't I, watching everybody suffer around me, watching the children be denied justice, watching the horror and pollution and destruction of our planet on behest of your corporate supporters, okay? And as a result of the ignorance and your failures, Archbishop of Canterbury, to promote the message that light being gave to me of universal law of abundance and compassion, your failure to do that has actually supported the continued spiritual degradation of the people of Britain, and to the extent that now we're living in a divided society and where xenophobia reigns supreme. Okay, this is your country, Queen Elizabeth, and I really, really do not know how you can even step foot in the church, and especially that very nasty, ignorant, judgmental piece of work behind you, whom you call husband, and who is in fact a racist, judgmental bigot, okay? Now, I've explained your crimes and your many sins, and as I've said, if you are prepared to repent and to apologise and to make amends and reparations and try your best to now promote and uphold universal law of abundance and compassion, you shall be forgiven, because nobody is blamed for the fact that they've been caught up in the fantasies and madness of this world, which rewards those who are most prepared to bow down to its evils, okay, as good and righteous people. So I am now informing you that by upholding the powers of this world and its evil plans, i.e. Agenda 21 and the New World Order comprised of the global criminal cabal, okay, that as long as you're prepared to uphold those, both of you are damned to oblivion, okay? God doesn't damn you, your own souls will speak against you, and you will never ascend to the higher consciousness that people call heaven. And this planet, while ever there's people like you in power who refuse to uphold the divine grace of universal law, the natural beneficence and unconditional love of compassion, okay, then, you know, the very fact that you have denied those and chosen to serve the very opposite, that is what condemns you. Your own souls will speak against you. Your spirit will be cast out from your soul, and you too are purely of your spirit because you have not connected to the soul light that is aligned perfectly with universal law of abundance in compassion. And because you have not aligned with that in your life, you have not supported it, you have supported the opposite, then I'm afraid you shall be banished to the myth and the fantasy that you've served your lives. You will be cast into oblivion, and unfortunately life for you shall never be again. The absolute truth is that we are light being bodies as well as a physical body. The light being body does not perish on death of the physical body, but moves into the higher consciousness, the quantum light consciousness, and there everything is just as real as it is here on earth, in exactly the same way as you've experienced that same quantum energy at work in your dreams, where everything is seen very real and vivid and as if it's actually happening, and you are really there because it's all created by the quantum energy in your mind. And that same quantum energy is what you will be joining when you pass from, when your physical body has perished. And the majority of people will be reincarnated. That is what happens. People do get born and born again and again and again. You two have invested of nothing of value or any good into the future. You've denied the reality of Jesus. You still insist on calling him the Son of Man, the Son of God, Archbishop of Canterbury, when Jesus informs us 78 times in the New Testament that he is the Son of Man. We are his brothers and sisters, and our Father is in heaven, because certainly he is nowhere to be found in men like him, or men like you, or women like her, okay? Because you've all lived very far away from the Father. The Father you've been following is a brute that likes to sexually abuse children, rape women, rob nations, and commit genocide against native peoples. So you are either going to confess to your crimes and turn over a new leaf and start actually putting your efforts towards establishing universal law in Britain, which apparently is now an independent country. So, you know, let's do it. If you're not prepared to do it, then, you know, what can I say? I feel sorry for both of you. You have been warned. You will not listen to me. I know I'm just a nobody, according to your judgments. Well, you've been warned. I've explained to you that Jah is willing to forgive both of you if the pair of you are prepared to get real and start living in the way that Jesus asked us to live, with compassion and respect for one another, and also to have a love for God and to uphold God's law of universal abundance in compassion. Okay, if you're not prepared to do that, if you're still committed to your corporate criminal so-called law that actually is Luciferian law, if you're both going to continue to support and worship Lucifer in your corrupt church with its mock human sacrifice and its ritual cannibalism, and you continue to pray before an instrument of Roman torture, then, you know, don't expect to be recognised as any true friend of Jesus. Okay, so, you know, as I say, I've taken time out of my day on this Christmas Eve to warn you two, to inform you of the truth, okay? You will not receive my message as any, you know, an act of kindness, because you're both too ignorant to understand it as that. You receive my message as criticism. Well, you know, you're getting a little taste of exactly what people like myself have had to live with all of our lives.